Hi, everybody. This is Meilin Obinata, your host for today's Talk of the Bay. And I'm here with the director of the Santa Cruz Film Festival, Paul Kmiec. Thank you, Paul. And thank you so much for being with us. And I've been a longtime fan and volunteer for the festival. What is new and exciting for 2025? Because the festival has been going on for quite some time, but what does this year bring?
I think first and foremost, what's so exciting is that the festival is back. So the festival has been down for 3 years. The organization's been asleep, so to speak, for a few years. And when I came on in December as the new director, the number one task, of course, is just to revive the organization, rebrand, everything with regards to the festival. But it just happened to be the 25th year of the institution. The institution itself started, from what I have been told, because this is long before my time, as just a group of cinephiles who wanted to watch movies and then take that to the next step and make it a community thing and elevate Santa Cruz and the arts that way. And that was back in 2000. So when I came on as the director in December, it was like, wow, it's also the 25th year. That's cool. So it's a revival, plus it's a milestone, quarter century old kind of thing.
Yeah. So are you the type of person who sees a fire and just runs right into the fire? Is that your personality?
It's funny you say that because actually, yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Almost the same exact thing that you just said is the way I reacted once to a situation like that, like literally.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, I think it was always going to be a very biblically challenging undertaking to have less than a year to revive a nonprofit organization and rebrand it and reorganize and blah, 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 blah. And hopefully also make it more ambitious, more aspirational, more fun, more celebratory. So it took a lot, and we're a very small team, at least right now. If anyone wants to volunteer for the Santa Cruz Film Festival, we are taking volunteers now, boots on the ground volunteers.
Woo!
But we're a very small team of just a few people, and of course our board of directors. So what we've done for the 25th and the revival year is we've curated almost 100 films over 5 days at 6 venues, including the Del Mar, Santa Cruz Cinema, the Colligan Theater at the Tannery, Indexical at the Tannery, the 418 Project on River Street, and some screenings and events at the Hotel Paradox. And we've jam-packed those 5 days. We would have been very comfortable programming 50 or 70 films, but we're just shy of 100. There's a lot to choose from. And we're also proud of the fact that even though we had been down for 3 years, more or less, we had record-breaking submissions, hundreds of film submissions, which was also another pressure as to why we wanted to program so many films. I would also like to say almost all of the films you're going to see have filmmakers in attendance. So if you're looking at the feature films, whether they're narrative or documentary, well, I think only 2 of them don't have filmmakers coming. And most of these filmmakers are traveling from New York or Boston or from out of country, LA, San Francisco. And then, of course, for our short blocks as well, filmmakers in attendance for those as well. So come and engage, ask the filmmakers questions. If you're going to come to our parties, we have 3 or 4 parties during that time, especially the big opening night gala, which is free. All of our parties are free. Just RSVP, come to them. Filmmakers will be there, talk to them, ask them about industry secrets or their artistic practice. Yeah. So there's quite a lot planned.
I've loved the film festival events, and I've loved meeting filmmakers, and show business is coming to us here, which is like mind-blowing. Yeah. And I've heard feedback from filmmakers like, wow, it's so great to see our reaction as the audience to the art that they worked on for a long time. They're putting all their blood, sweat, and tears into something, and finally to see it on the big screen and absorb people's reactions. That's why people make art. Okay, spoiler, not spoiler. You yourself are a director. So do you feel empathy for all these filmmakers who are submitting films and having them be part of the festival? What do you think of that as, like, why are people drawn to this festival as a filmmaker?
Yeah, so it's funny, I'm the director now, But about in 2013, so over a decade ago, I was a 21-year-old film student at a film school, SUNY Purchase Film Conservatory in New York. And my junior thesis 25-minute short film was selected to the Santa Cruz Film Festival. I didn't even know what Santa Cruz was. I just submitted. I just submitted to Santa Cruz because I had just visited California for the first time that summer, fell in love with California because I'm from the Northeast. I grew up in Boston. I'd never seen California. I lost my mind. I was like, this is so beautiful. I love this place. I felt at home. So I submitted to California film festivals, got into Santa Cruz Film Festival. The school I was studying film at flew me out. They paid for the tickets. I stayed at the Paradox and I was here for 5 days. My film, my 25-minute short film, won Best Short Film, which was really great, especially if you're a young college student to be beating out adults with budgets. And you're like, wow, that's cool. And I fell in love with Santa Cruz and said, I'm going to move here. A year and a half later. Oh my
gosh, wow.
Yeah. A year and a half later, I bought myself my dream car, which was a 1991 red Volvo station wagon. And I drove out to California, and I had to listen to people smarter than me. They said, okay, if you're not going to move to New York City, you got to move to LA. So I went to LA. The dreams of going up to San Francisco or to Santa Cruz. And I did LA just for under a year. I worked in the film industry. I did not like LA. That was parts of it, of course, I love, and I have lots of friends there. But it just wasn't for me. I was going up to Santa Cruz all the time. So
that's so interesting.
Yeah, I just wanted to. I never wanted to live where a film industry was. I wanted to make movies where I want to live, which has always been the challenge for people. A lot of people don't love New York City or LA, but they have to be there because of the industry. That's all changing now, in many respects. But as a filmmaker, literally the reason I moved to Santa Cruz was because it was introduced to me by way of the Santa Cruz Film Festival. So it's really a fun and kind of an emotional opportunity to now, as once an alum, to now be the director. And because I'm a filmmaker, I know how filmmakers want to be treated when they come to the festival. They want to be seen, they want to be heard, they want to be celebrated, they want to have people ask them questions, they want to engage in conversation. For the most part, most filmmakers want that.
Yeah.
And there's different kinds of festivals, and some festivals operate somewhat differently in that respect, but I'm a pretty gregarious, extroverted person, and so I want this to be a very extroverted event. I want people out there talking about the films outside of the Del Mar or the Colligan or whatever. We having a lot of parties, again, all of which are free. Please come to them, have fun. There's also this silly idea that Santa Cruz is a quote-unquote sleepy town.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
sure.
I don't like that. I don't think that's real. I think that's silly. I think that's one of those things that happened post-pandemic, and now everyone says it. I'm like, bars are open till 2. San Francisco, what is San Francisco, a sleepy metropolis because their bars close at 2? You know, I just think that's silly, and people should resist against that and just have fun and not squander such a beautiful place. Anyways, that's part of having this big extroverted event, is just getting people back out. People are still struggling post-pandemic with some of this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyways,
yeah. So you're a filmmaker and you're directing this festival, and I'm wondering about what film means to you or to everybody today in 2025. You have, what is the role of independent film in the context of, there's Hollywood and New York City that you were mentioning. What is it about? I'd have to say my bias is towards independent film. What does independent film do for us? And what's your favorite what's your favorite type of independent film experience that you wish for audiences?
Yeah, I guess, so independent filmmaking, the more clinical definition of it is anything outside of the studio system. And the studio system for the longest time has been MGM, Warner Brothers, now Marvel. These are really massive entertainment companies, multinational entities, and they produce blockbuster films. There's plenty of wonderful blockbuster films, although maybe today there's less and less. There seems to be a homogeny of the demigods flying around in capes movies.
Sure,
which, not to yuck anyone's yum, but maybe there's a little bit too many of them. There seems to be a lot of those. And independent filming could be, you make a film in your backyard for $100 or $1,000 or no money at all, and you submit it to Sundance and it gets in. That's an independent movie. Or it's a movie with backing and investors who want return on their investment, like most things, most ventures. And maybe it costs $2 million. That's an independent movie.
Right. There's a huge range.
And we have that range, that financial perspective from the budgetary perspective. We have that full range. People who made movies in their backyard here in Boulder Creek to movies with a $1.7 million budget that were shot in San Francisco. All of them are independent. All of them want the same things. All these filmmakers want the same things, which is they want to tell real novel stories with novel voices, stories that maybe have not been told in this way before. That's what everyone's after from the filmmaking perspective. A lot of these films are seeking distribution. So they go to film festivals that are like Sundance or South by Southwest, which are markets. Those festivals are markets as well. We are not a market. We're a regional film festival. We're here for the community and for the filmmakers, and to have some educational components as well. For instance, on Saturday, October 11th, I do believe, at 11 a.m. at Hotel Paradox in the ballroom, we're going to be holding a free industry summit panel. And that's going to be co-hosted by, obviously, the Santa Cruz Film Festival, but the Watsonville Film Festival with Consuelo Alba and Maddie Scariot, who's the executive director of the Poppy Jasper Film Festival. We're going to have one of the co-directors from #Make It Bay, which is the East Bay Film Collective, and they're becoming the Oakland Film Commission. And they're wonderful, very important part of the film ecosystem up in the Bay. We're also going to have a very important figure from SAG-AFTRA, NorCal Local, and Charlotte Glynn, who's the Santa Cruz Film Commission here in Santa Cruz, and Ryan R.J. Allen. He is the founder of Highway 17 Studios, which is the brand new 25,000 square foot film and television production stage on the West Side. They just had a big write-up in Good Times, but people still don't know they're here. They are the first ever Santa Cruz infrastructure that we need as a town, a city, as a county to properly be a resource for filmmaking. People come here once in a while. Every few years, some movie is made, like Jordan Peele's Us, that came here. Oh my God, Santa Cruz.
I have friends who are, I think, extras in it.
Yeah. So a film like that comes by once in a while. We just had a trauma film that came by, Tromo, which is really cool. But it's not what it should be. I don't know about most of the listeners, but I'm not particularly enthused about seeing NYC and LA on screen all the time. The Central Coast is arguably one of the most beautiful places on the planet, in America, let alone in California.
No one's going to call in and argue with you. I just want you to know. It's like,
actually,
what?
it's Fresno.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
the most beautiful.
Yes.
Have you ever seen Modesto? But
I have.
But the Central Coast is phenomenal, and it's such an artistic place. Literally square footage, the amount of artists and plenty of filmmakers who live here between the Bay Area and Big Sur alone. And we just don't have those incentives and that financial structure, and those haven't for the longest time, those resources to be able to conduct film productions, television productions. But we're hoping that all of it changes. And so beyond just being a 5-day festival, what we're trying to do with our organization is to work with partners like the ones I just mentioned and Highway 17 Studios to get more filmmakers to film here, and the filmmakers who live here to get their films made here. So yes, on one hand, film festivals first and foremost are there to curate experience, a 14-day festival or a 3-day festival or something in between. You're curating great independent films that you typically cannot find within mainstream distribution, right? So we're providing access to films that are awesome and hard to find. It's not something you would normally see at a multiplex or at most theaters. And then we're bringing the filmmakers and we're having that artistic conversation, facilitating that conversation. But more broadly speaking, the vision for our organization is to create a really robust foundation for the Central Coast to get more films made here and to reward the filmmakers who have great scripts here that want them shot here, and to get Santa Cruz on screen, and to what would be the term? To motivate a better, more robust arts sector. Santa Cruz has a great arts sector. Most artists are living hand to mouth. This is a astronomically expensive place to live, and for all of us who find it very difficult and challenging to live here financially, and our artists especially, we're doing it because we're insane. You can go to there's plenty of places you can go to. They're not as cool, they're not as eclectic, but certainly you'd be able to perhaps save some more money and be more financially stable. Yeah. It's very destabilizing to live in coastal California, to be an artist. And I think one of the things we'd like to do, one of our big goals, is to elaborate on the arts sector here by creating the infrastructure and incentive to have film production here with frequency, not to become LA or something like that. Even LA is not LA anymore. We never want that for Santa Cruz. But we have plenty. We have no shortage of artists and technical minds and brilliant minds who would benefit artistically and economically from having a greater job sector here that's rooted in media, film, and television. And right now is a very existential time for the industry because even before the advent of AI, I'm not particularly that concerned about, honestly, that AI is going to mostly impact these larger superhero type big movies like that. It's not really going to impact, I'll eat my hat 5 years from now. I was like, there's no more movies. But we're not anticipating it really making a, in fact, it looks like it might be doing the opposite for independent films, right? Is that, so instead of making a $200 million movie every couple of years, Warner Brothers or a large company of this nature, why don't we make $10 million movies or $25 million independent movies?
Yeah.
And those can actually still be very profitable. If you make a $2, $3, $5 million movie and it brings in 20. So for the longest time, it was like, oh, we have to spend gargantuan amounts of money and we have to have the film open up in China first, right? It has to open up in China first. And by the way, because of that, we're going to have to censor part of the script. And
right.
And then after it made a bunch of money in China, we're going to have it do its domestic thing. That's only because you're spending $200 to $400 million on a movie. You don't need to do that. Look at the Oscars this year with Anora and The Brutalist. Those were very modest budgeted films. The Brutalist with Adrian Brody, which is a great film, it's 3.5 hours long. It did phenomenally well. But the secret to why that movie did so well economically was that movie cost $10 million. It was an A24 picture.
Oh, A24.
Yeah, great company. Smart. They've become like the smart film company.
I think they produce Moonlight.
I think so too.
Yeah.
They produce so much now and they're great. But the point of what I'm saying is that the film only cost $10 million, but if they shot it here in Pennsylvania and New York where it takes place, it would have cost 60 or 70 million. So where did they shoot it?
I actually don't know. I haven't seen it.
Budapest.
Oh, Hungary.
Yeah, they shot it in Europe because you can make it for 10 cents over there. You know what I mean? By comparison. What we'd like to see happen is we'd like to see the California tax incentives and rebate programs that secure those jobs and keep that part of our economy and our culture alive here in California and broadly throughout the United States. We like to see some of it over here.
So how does that work? How do those incentives work? Because I do know that in other countries, there's a very explicit support of the arts. Like there are extremely robust programs like in France or Canada. You're going to make art here. We're going to fund it. And it's a very full, I guess from my American point of view, where we don't do that. Yeah. It's a very full-throated type of support for the arts.
Yeah, exactly.
In terms of like where our tax money goes. What would you envision for us here?
Yeah, so that's a great point because Europe in particular, they have national cinemas, meaning we have purely the capitalistic model of filmmaking. In Europe says, yes, films are of economic importance. They can be lucrative, but they are first and foremost a crucial and indispensable cultural asset, not just a financial one. And Europe, for the longest time, of course, they've been the arbiters of culture, in France in particular. They've been the arbiters of art, the gatekeepers, so to speak. But on the other hand, and whatever, we can talk about that forever, but on the other hand, they fund their filmmakers.
Yeah, they literally do it. It's like
Canada does it.
Yeah, Canada does it. Yeah.
And so Europe, they want the arts, they want film, and that's just the way it's been. And America doesn't have that. There are certain grants you can get from certain institutions or nonprofits or endowments or whatever, but that's, and especially for the size, we're huge. America's the size of a literal continent. We don't have, it'd be great to see the United States follow the national cinemas approach of Europe, where it's like Poland gives this amount of money to filmmakers every year, and why doesn't Utah? And now, of course, we have incentives. Yeah, we have incentives, and those incentives can be really useful. Like in San Francisco, they'll give you $600,000 as a rebate, so you can, if you shoot your film there, if you meet those qualifications, they'll give you back $600,000, and then you can put that back in. You can pay your investors back early. You can put it into post-production. It's really expensive to make movies. So we're going to be actually talking about all of this at the Industry Summit on Saturday. So we can get into the nitty-gritty of what this would look like, what this vision for more filmmaking in Santa Cruz would look like.
I just have to mention Bong Joon-ho's film Parasite. Bong Joon-ho was educated in South Korean University for entertainment and media. South Korea very explicitly followed sort of an intellectual property track to make South Korea into kind of like a mecca for arts and entertainment. And they put money, that means the government, they actually put money into making these amazing institutes for arts. And so South Korea has it punches way above its weight in terms of geography and so on, because people all over, say, the world are watching South Korean content, whether that's music or film or so on. And the film Parasite itself is the result of a very independent fundraising on the part of the production company. So Bong Joon-ho had final cut, which is almost unheard of in the United States. So I'll just say money matters. And so funding the arts, that matters. And how you fund your film can definitely have everything to do with the freedom that you get to exercise as an artist. Yeah.
And the different production practices, it's just different. Each continent, each country has a different ethos about this, what actually matters. And I think if you have to convince the powers that be in America, then you have to convince them at the economic level, because that's the only thing that really matters to them. But the cultural level, being able to go out and have a theatrical communal experience and sit with a bunch of people you don't know and experience the same emotions, but yet have different interpretations of what's going on. As we've been doing this since we were cave people or whatever with fire, and the orator tradition, the oral tradition, listening to stories. One of my favorite things to do is to put on Hal Holbrook Tonight from 1970 whatever on a vinyl record. It was my father's, and listen to Hal Holbrook pretend that he's Mark Twain on stage, and he's continuing the tradition of passing down stories and just listening. And I think one of our big motivations from the psychological level is post-pandemic. Most things have returned to normal for sure, but there's still a good swath of people that just never really returned out there. And maybe some of them have challenges to their health and whatnot. But I think one thing that really got threatened, and I'm glad to see is coming back, but not fully there, is the idea of physical communities. We stay in our homes, we have these TVs, we have everything you want to watch on the TV, most of which is crap to begin with, or at least it's just overly saturated. And you stay at home, or you're glued to your cell phone, and your brain rots because you're watching 5, 10, 15-second content, some of the stuff is fun and cool, whatever. But people need to go out and embrace their physical communities again. Sometimes it feels as though there are forces at work in the world that want us to be sick. They're incentivizing us to be on our phones. They tell us what we like. They use algorithms to constantly feed us content that keeps us tech addicted. And I
can't believe you said that. Wow. By the way, I did interview Brian Merchant and Jathan Sadowski, both of whom have written books about technology and Luddism and like a resistance to the sort of what you're exactly talking about. But I did not tell you that before I interviewed you. So we did not compare notes. This came from you. And in terms of what can film do to break us away from that and be in physical community, what do you see as the potential?
Yeah, I think, so first of all, great art reminds you of who you are. I always think of The Lion King, where Mufasa passes away, and Simba, his son, sees him in the clouds. He's hallucinating and seeing his father. And James Earl Jones, his voice goes, "Simba, remember who you are." And I think art does that. It reminds. It's like when I teach, I tell students, because we talk about dreams a lot and psychology and film and Jungian kind of terminology and stuff like that. And I say, I actually like nightmares. Once a nightmare is over, for the most part, they teach you who you are. They reorient you. If you're really paying attention to the imagery and the themes in your dreams, it's telling you something about yourself. And dreams are just positively charged things, and nightmares are negatively charged dreams. But all dreams tell us who we are, obviously, or at least you can interpret it as such. I happen to think they do. But movies are like that, art is like that, and going out, whether it's going to a music festival and dancing in synchronization with other people, feeling the music at the same time, it's the same thing in many respects to going to a film and experiencing it. And look, we have the historic Del Mar Theater. That is one of the most beautiful theaters ever. I used to work there many years ago.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
wow.
as front of house and giving people popcorn and stuff. It's the fact that we have these incredible spaces that have such pithy attendance so often. Not that every theater, I'm not speaking on behalf of every theater. I'm just saying in general, there is a preponderance of beautiful places. The Del Mar is fashioned after the old dream palaces, what they used to call theaters before, and dream palaces. Can we go back to calling movie theaters dream palaces? It's incredible. And people need to go out there and experience things and then go for dessert or for a drink or something afterwards and talk about the movie.
Absolutely.
I am no different than anyone else. I'm just as tech addicted and buried into my phone, and I resent myself every moment that I do. And I think here's the cool thing about the theatrical experience. We've had some great examples over the last handful of years of an indication that the idea that the theatrical experience is dead. No, it's not. It's that so much of the content that we are provided is no longer appealing, or it fatigues the audiences. So, one battle after another, the new Paul Thomas Anderson movie. This is a very strange film. It's out now. You can see it at the Del Mar and Santa Cruz Cinema. I saw it in 70 millimeter in one of the biggest 70 millimeter theaters we have in California, which is at the AMC Metreon in San Francisco. Paul Thomas Anderson is arguably one of the best American filmmakers since Stanley Kubrick. He's personally one of my top 2 favorite filmmakers. I've been waiting for this movie because this man, this auteur, director, has been entrusted with a Marvel level budget. They gave this guy $150 million, Warner Brothers.
Wait, who's in it?
Leonardo DiCaprio, Chase Infinity, Benicio del Toro, Regina Hall. Sean Penn plays the evil white supremacist military industrial complex guy. It is a politically charged, bonkers action movie made by an auteur filmmaker. And so this is a really interesting integration of kind of the things we're talking about, where we have, and they shot it on premium format. Premium format is, they shot on VistaVision, and they've even projected globally at some Vista. It's very hard to project VistaVision or even shoot on VistaVision, which is when you flip the film around and you shoot horizontally rather than vertically through the camera. So it maximizes the space on your field of vision, right? The plane that you're filming on. And then you project it in IMAX, and it's absolutely, it's overwhelming. It's so immersive. And so what we're finding is that people want original content like that has no IP relationship.
You're not going to make a part 5. Sure.
Right. It's some people say it's like Paul Thomas Anderson does Fast and Furious. It's this incredible amalgamation of things, and it's doing gangbusters right now. It's really doing it because it's true, real intellectual property. It's not related to a Spider-Man thing or Wonder Woman thing or any of this. And we saw this when Oppenheimer came out, right, by Christopher Nolan. Again, also an IMAX film. So
it was really long. I haven't seen it, but wasn't it super long or something?
Yeah, and so is this one.
Is it long?
Is also like almost 4 hours. And
oh, wow.
There's actually a trend. People actually want longer movies. They want them to feel more like events. They want them to be real, true, novel, intellectual property. Like, people are fatigued by watching some dude get really big and turn into a green monster or whatever. And again, the first movie that made me want to make movies as a kid was Tim Burton's 1986 or 87, 88 Batman with Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson. And so I'm not I'm not trying to be antagonistic towards. It's not the superhero thing. It's just real, true, novel screenplays are. I think there's a little bit of a renaissance coming back for people are craving real stuff. People are craving authentic screenplays.
You need more than one story. You need more than 5 stories. You need more than 10 stories. You need more than 20 stories, or you need more than a variation on a theme, especially because people are so savvy about media now, and they're like, I saw this and it's like that. And audiences, of course, are super aware because they're consuming media all the time. So I personally I'm so picky when it comes to what I watch. I'd rather spend well over an hour looking for something that I really want to watch
Right.
than watch something that's not good.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Because everything is so saturated.
Yeah,
You go onto
exactly.
Netflix or
Yeah.
Hulu or whatever. Yeah, I spend so much time going, do I want to watch this? And then I end up not watching anything because we're overwhelmed by the oversaturation of content, most of which is like whatever and mediocre. But that's why film festivals are great, because they say, listen, we've curated this.
Yeah.
You may not like 10% of the films. You might love 100% of the films. We don't know, but it's very intentionally curated. And so we have films that are very Santa Cruz, like opening night film. I know I'm not allowed to swear on the show, so use your imagination.
You can use a euphemism or...
Yeah. So the movie is called F Toys. There's a few
I
letters
saw the
missing from
trailer.
that. Yeah.
The trailer looked amazing.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible. We're doing two. So that's our opening night film. And opening night film and closing night films are very important, right? That means we've taken some films and said, hey, we're giving a very special prescience to these films. So come out opening night to the film, mostly titled F Toys. It is at 7 p.m. at the Del Mar. And guess who will be there? Anna Parnasarium, the actor, director, and producer of this movie. It took 8 years to make this movie. They shot it on Super 16 millimeter grainy film. They shot it in Louisiana, which isn't called Louisiana in the movie. It's called Trash Town. And it's a campy, John Waters-esque, phenomenal film by the mind of Annapurna. And she's going to be there in attendance for a Q&A. She'll be there at the opening night gala party. Again, it's a free party. Come out. And if you can't make the movie, because whatever, but you want to come out to the party from 9:30 to 1 in the morning, which doesn't happen often at the MA, by the way.
That is true.
A late close.
That is true.
Come,
Yes.
we'll have the DJ collective Tide Swings there, spinning wax, as they say.
Ooh.
And food. And anyways, so that's a really wonderful, very Santa Cruz film. We have some great local shorts and a couple other features, including the Beth Stevens and Annie Sprinkles film Playing with Fire, an Ecosexual Emergency. That's playing at the Colligan Theater on Sunday, I think around 4:30.
They are amazing.
Yeah.
I saw I was volunteering for the festival the last time they had a film in the festival. That was incredible.
Yeah.
They are
Yeah.
God tier, in my opinion, God tier Santa Cruz celebrities.
Incredibly imaginative.
Yeah.
And so that's a great film that was shot predominantly in Boulder Creek. So we have a short block called Central Coasts, the crossroads of, I'm forgetting it now, Longing and Belonging. And we have great films. We have a couple Santa Cruz films. We have a Salinas film. We have Watsonville film. A bunch of films from the Central Coast curated. Consuelo Alba, the founder and executive director of Watsonville Film Festival, will be there to moderate that event.
That's awesome.
That's going to be a fun event. But then, of course, we have some wonderful international films. One of my favorite films, it's a challenging film in that it's what we call slow cinema, right? At these long, deliberate paces. Sometimes characters don't express that much emotion. It's called Arcadia, and I'm also very biased about the film because I'm also Greek, and the film speaks to me at that level as well. But it is one of the most poignant and subtle renditions of the ghost genre, which is a genre of movies. I love ghost stories, and this really flips it on its head. It's typically ghost stories about ghosts are haunting the living. The dead is haunting the living, but this is reversed. The living is haunting the dead, and they won't let them go. And
that's cool.
There's a moment at the end of that movie that just wrecks you, and it's the best feeling.
To get wrecked by a film,
yeah. And so that's a great international film. And for instance, if you can only come out to the festival on the weekend, we have a weekender, or if you're only really interested or predominantly interested in the international films, we have an international pass. We've curated all those international shorts and features for you.
Options.
VIP passes are pretty inexpensive, and if you're a student, I was just at UCSC before I arrived here, incredibly inexpensive. I know we can't mention prices, but let's just say it barely costs anything. We want the students from anywhere, but especially our UCSC students, to come out and have fun and to have just as much access to an adult who can afford to pay the full price. We had a couple adults who were like, why did the students get to spend this money? I'm like, that should be self-evident.
Yeah, that should be.
Trying to make this as accessible as possible.
Also, name drop to Logan Walker, teaching at UC Santa Cruz. Thank you, Logan, for everything you do for the festival.
Yeah, Logan Walker has been the director of programming since I was the student at 21 visiting. When I first met Logan was in 2013 when I was 21 years old. And I just saw Logan. We were just at UCSC. And Logan's wonderful. He knows how to program and curate a festival like the back of his hand. And he'll be moderating several events as well throughout the festival.
Go Logan. Yay. Go Logan. Thank you so much for showing us what the festival is today. And I feel like the festival is in such amazing hands, your hands.
Thank you.
So I'm so excited to see what this year brings, and I look forward to hearing more about like the other endeavors that you're going to have year round with the festival. So I'm super, super excited, and it sounds like it is bringing all the energy that you could possibly want as a lover of film.
Yeah. Santa Cruz is this crazy artistic creative community. Come out and enjoy these films. There's films for everyone. Parties almost every night.
Free parties. So what is the date? What are the dates of the festival if people are interested, and how can people find out on the internet?
So here we go. The festival is October 8 through 12. So that is very soon, right around the corner. Wednesday the 8th is opening night, and closing night and the award ceremony party is Sunday the 12th. So those 5 days, jam-packed, and you're going to go to www.santacruzfilmfestivals.org. That's plural festival. So www.santacruzfilmfestivals.org. You can also find us on Instagram, Santa Cruz Film Festival, and peruse our tickets. Reach out to us if you have any questions. We'll be as prompt as we can be. We're a very small team, so if you have questions about the ticketing website or something like that, just bear with us, but we will get back to you.
How would you like people to reach out? By email?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can reach out by email. That's info@santacruzfilmfestivals.org.
Great. Thank you so much, Paul. I know everybody's looking forward to this, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.